We are live from my storm shelter. Hey guys, this morning I deliberately wore some running clothes. I recently did the Route 66 marathon, but I wanted to talk to you about this, and I deliberately wore these clothes because there was a change that happened in me about 1.5 years ago, and that is that before that I would have identified as somebody that cannot run. I would have said, I'm not a runner, I hate running, and it's not something I'm good at. I'd done a few 5Ks, I ran a mile race in high school, just kind of winged it, but it was not something I enjoyed. It was painful for me, it hurt, and it was hard, and so I deliberately identified as somebody who doesn't run. But I was 40, I was 41, 42, 41, and I knew that something needed to change. I was getting fat, and I also knew that I wanted to be around and in good shape for my grandkids. And so my wife had inspired me to run because she ran all winter, and I started talking to my brother about it, who's a runner, and he said, well, let's do a marathon. Well, that's kind of a big deal. So I said, sure, let's do it. And I set off to train, and I realized, you know what, this is something I can do. I've never enjoyed running because I've always been out of shape. And I was kind of inspired by a book, Daryl Hardy, Compound Effect, in which he talks about a lady who wanted to get in shape and run. And so she started to do that by just walking one block, and that progressed every day for her. And so I realized that it is something I could do, and I should do. But it was because I was conscientious of my future and who I was either becoming because of my lack of discipline or somebody I could become because I was willing to put in the effort. I recently read Benjamin Hardy's book, Be Your Future Self Now. Really good book. And I'm kind of doing this video to promote this book, but also, and I'm not getting anything from him. But this is a message that I want people to be thinking about, and that is who you are becoming by your choices you make today and who you will be someday because of that. So we all make choices. Everything we do has a consequence. Everything we do has a cost toward our future self. So we eat the donut, we don't eat the donut. There's a natural consequence there. There's a story in here he talks about the Pied Piper. You guys are probably all familiar with the Pied Piper story, but the Pied Piper is a story about these rats in the city. And the people of the city want the rats to go, so the Pied Piper says, hey, I'll get rid of them. Give me the sum of money. And they say, yeah, we'll do it. He gets rid of the rats. They say, we're not paying. So then he manipulates or gets the kids to all leave and imprisons them in a hill. And it's kind of a sad story, kind of a weird story, but the principle of that story is that the Pied Piper will get paid. And that is how it is for us as well. You see, our future self is going to be paid based on who we are today. And the choices we make and the things we do today will determine who our future self is. And so it's really important for us to be thinking about that. Everything you do has a consequence, for better or for worse, and these consequences are compounding because the Pied Piper will be paid. There's no escaping your future self, unless you just die. But that is why it is important for us to be making good decisions and to not just be thinking about right here, right now, and what gratifies myself today, but be thinking about our future self. Jim Rogan has said, discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. This is something my wife and I have often asked ourselves in regards to things is, will we have regrets if we don't do this? And if we're going to have regrets about it, we want to do it. But if the If it's not something we're going to have regrets about, by all means, we're going to do it. So, I want you to just be thinking about that. Be thinking about how your choices you make today to either be present or absent with your loved ones and people around you, or your work, how does it weigh into your future self and who you're becoming? He has a quote in here. He says, everything you do can either be categorized as a cost or an investment in your future self. So don't always think of it that way, but when we get up in the morning and grab our phone and start scrolling and miss out on intentional time in the Word or exercise or reading a book, we're just numbing our body. We're medicating on something that getting a dopamine hit just because we're used to it. We desire, our brain desires that. Toward the end of that chapter, he talks about an investment in your future self is any conscious action you're making toward your chosen goals. And this is something else that I've really been impacted with, is how by having goals can literally give you purpose. And by having a purpose, you can literally change your personality. So for me, with my running, I said I'm not a runner. I hate running. It's not for me. But by having a goal of a marathon, it forced me to have a plan. And yes, it was small steps and small runs initially, but those progressed. And as they progressed, I got more confident. And now I have a goal of running a marathon someday with my grandkids. And it's literally because I had a goal and it gave me purpose. And it literally changed my personality. I'm about to go run 8 miles. It's just in training. I've got a 17-mile run on Sunday to do, but it's in training and preparation for a marathon I'm going to do this year. And it's just part of who I am now. I'm a runner. I'm a marathoner. And that all was because of a goal, and it changed who I am. Something else we don't realize, the importance of thinking about your future self, is that when we think about our future self, that allows us not to dwell on who we were in the past. And you'll see this like with Elon Musk. Elon Musk doesn't talk about PayPal. He talks about living on Mars or dying on Mars someday. And that goal of a future self for him is propelling him forward to do things today that will get him to Mars. Most successful people in the world base their identity and internal narrative on their future, not their past. So be thinking about your future self. Set some goals that will change your future self. Change your personality, become somebody better, somebody you are proud of, somebody your spouse will be proud of, and somebody your grandkids will look up to, because you made some decisions to do some hard things and change who you were. So good books like this really help. You could do like 12 books a year by reading 10 pages a day. So it doesn't have to take a lot of effort, but you got to be intentional. So as you guys know, it's all about killing complacency, living intentionally. And by doing that, you can change your future, you can change who you are, and be a better version of you. Hope this is helpful. Thanks.